I love trying new things. In fact, to the level that it gets me a little flustered whenever I see people doing the same old, without trying to innovate or trying something new altogether. You've probably seen this cliched term before. When was the last time you tried something new for the first time? If it's me, I'd like the answer to be 45 days or less, no matter when you ask me. But trying something new is undoubtedly daunting, and all of us know that. The unfamiliar has a way of making us nervous that's very hard to describe. Vacating our comfort zone makes us vulnerable, and it leaves us in a position open for questions. Questions like, should I be doing this? Can I do this? Will I look stupid? What am I doing here? But you've got to trust me. This is normal. This is what it's supposed to be, and it is good. Primarily because every time we want to move out of our comfort zone, it's kind of like a little bit of a challenge. But pushing ourselves out of the comfort zone is great for us, at least for two counts. One, it helps us to overcome some fears. And second, it helps us to learn. Not just the new thing that we're talking about, but also to learn about yourself. Something or the other about yourself. What's your potential? What's your ability? What are the opportunities? Where can you go from here? And then, of course, comes the rush. There's nothing quite like or as memorable as thrill that you get when you have accomplished something that you set out to achieve. In fact, studies show that people who engage in a variety of new experiences display and retain far more positive emotions than people with fewer experiences. So let's go back to the beginning. How do you turn yourself into someone who's willing to try out something new and become a lifelong learner? When I was young or younger, I experimented with a lot of stuff. Not substances or mahua, but more in terms of creating new things, building something, new projects. Those are the kind of things that I was doing. And I'm sure you're possibly wondering, and I'm going to answer that right now, I have more failed projects than successful ones. In fact, so many that I've filled boxes and cartons with them. I used to throw these boxes and cartons out, but now I keep it thinking that let me just peer in every now and then, see if there's something that I can try and put to use, create something new out of it. Yet, every new attempt or every project, successful or failed, I realize that it helps me get better. It makes me more resolute, it makes me determined, it makes me more confident. And in spite of so many different projects and so many things that I've reached out to, I always see that every new venture, project, whatever I attempt, always starts exactly the same way, with a bunch of questions. Not sure if I can do this, not sure if I should do this, how much is it going to cost, do I have that much time, what if I fail, what will others think of me, what happens because of putting the effort out here, what else is going to suffer? And I'm sure that's exactly the same kind of questions that all of you have every time you try out something new, right? I can only see a few faces, but I don't see any agreement. So, okay, so anyway, my example is, I need to ask you guys, how many of you here play a musical instrument? Put up your hands and please put them as high as you can so that I can see them. A musical instrument. How many of you play a musical instrument? Percussion doesn't count because let's face it, eventually your family and your neighbors should have appreciated what you've done. And we know that never happens to drummers. So musical instrument. Put up your hands if you play a musical instrument. Anyone? Yeah, I see a few hands. Okay. Now, raise your hands if you have ever wanted to play a musical instrument. Any time in your life. Raise your hands. Okay, now I see the hands. Why don't you all look around? Because that's literally everyone. Look around. Yes? And if I were to ask you why you didn't learn to play a musical instrument, you're possibly going to repeat some of the statements I already made. And prime among those is going to be, you didn't have enough time. Am I right? What if I told you that I could take 30, 40 of you, teach you a popular tune on a musical instrument in just 3 to 4 minutes right now. Would you be willing? Yes? Okay, because we took the liberty that when Ali was talking a little while ago and when I started talking, we've distributed harmonicas randomly to a few people out here. That's a little box that you should have received. If you have that, please open that and stand. And for the rest of you, if you're asking why harmonicas, well, because one, it's the most purchased instrument in the world, and two, they didn't allow us to bring the 30 pianos upstairs out here. So if you've got the harmonica, please stand with the harmonica. Take that out. I know that this is all about ideas worth spreading. I'm just changing that a little to make it an idea worth demonstrating as well. So all of you with the harmonicas, leave the box. You only need the harmonica. On one side of it, on top, you can see some numbers. You can see some numbers. You'll have to tilt it to the light. That side needs to be on top. Now, there are just 3 things you need today to be able to participate in this demo. First, you need to know how to read numbers. 1 to 10 is good enough for today. Second, you only need to play or when I ask you to play, not other than that. And third, you need to know how to breathe in and out into the harmonica. Okay? So, left index finger on the number 6. You can see the number 6. Get your left index finger on the number 6. Right index finger on the number 8. So if I ask you to play 6, you bring the harmonica to your mouth, and you should be able to feel the edge of your finger on the ridge of your lips, so you know that you're in front of 6. And then you either exhale or inhale, whatever I ask you to do. If you have to play 7, it's between your fingers. 8 is your right index finger. So good enough? Let's just do a quick demo of this. I'm going to call out some numbers, but before I do that, one other thing. In a short while, I'm going to put up some notations. You're going to see numbers again. When you see a number, if it's just the number, let's say a 7, you exhale. If you see a -7, you inhale. Okay, you draw. So I'm just going to call that out first, and let's see how we do. So everyone get ready. Okay, 6, exhale. -6, 7, -7, 8, -8, -6, 7, 8. Good enough. Can the rest of you hear them? Okay. Here's what we're going to do. I promised you a popular tune. So eyes on the screen. I'm going to put up the notation. Then I'm going to give you a count. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, and then you start playing. Okay, you play what you see out here. So wait for my count. 1, 2, 3, and. Fabulous. That's Bohemian Rhapsody right there. And I know what all of you are thinking. Those of you who are standing right now, you're thinking, this is why I don't try out new stuff. This is why I don't put out my hand and ask for a harmonica. This is why I don't like to volunteer, right? You don't know what you played. I'm just going to change the equation a little bit. Don't give up yet. The notes that you see out here are for a very simple tune. You know it. It's Old MacDonald Had a Farm, E-I-E-I-O. You know that? Everyone knows that? But now you're going to try and play it together with a timing. So I'm going to go, so this is the timing that you're going to do. You're going to go Old MacDonald. That's the pace. Every syllable has got a note. Okay? So let's try this together on my count. 1, 2, 3, and. Very nice. I know you're at different places, but I can hear you. What do you say we make this a little better? Let's play the full song. Don't get overawed. The first line and the second line is exactly the same. Then the next 2 lines have only got 1 number on it. But you got to remember the song. It goes with a talk here. So it's pap, 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 not pap, 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 pap. So you got to play with the tune, right? And I'm going to join you. I'm going to give you a strumming with the guitar. 1, 2, 3, and. Give them a big round. Fantastic. Woo! Take a bow. Put away the harmonicas. You get to keep them. I'm not taking them back. You put your mouth to it. It's yours. Look at their faces. They've just transformed from embarrassment to exhilaration in under 2 minutes. That's what's happened. From embarrassment to exhilaration in just 2 minutes. That feeling is called happiness. Now, you only played this once. You do this 10 more times, that feeling is going to amplify. It's going to grow. You know what follows? Confidence. From confidence comes belief. And belief doesn't just translate to that one thing that you've learned. When you have that self-belief, it translates to literally everything else. It's going to rock your world. You start believing in yourself, you're going to attempt a lot more things, you're going to be successful in a lot more things. That's what happens, right? This is just an image of those who are playing the harmonica and those who are watching them. The one who's eating the cotton candy, they were so thrilled. The others they're actually playing. It's not a gimmick out here. Right. I think we've established that we definitely have the intent. I don't think there's anyone here who doesn't like to do new things, right? But there are a lot of things that hold us back. Moving from the intent to action is really where the tricky part is. So I'm going to share some personal experiences here. I kind of knew how to play the guitar and the harmonica for many years, but on my 40th birthday, my wife bought me a recorder, a German block flute. I loved it. I played it so much. Okay, eventually the neighbors kind of like paid for the soundproofing, and even to this day we don't have stray dogs on that street, but it was fantastic. I just kept playing it all the time. I made up my mind that I'm going to learn to play a new musical instrument every year. When time came, I said, I've got to learn another instrument. But again, I was surrounded by the same familiar companions, and these companions were fear, failure of risk, what will others think, do I have the money for it, do I have the time for it, all of these things. So I just went out and bought an instrument. I went and bought a ukulele. I didn't stop after that. I play 9 instruments now. I've enjoyed it. I'm not trying to be a professional or an expert in any of them because I just enjoy the learning process, right? So my point here is you've got to make a little bit of a commitment towards your intent. Jump in with both feet. It's kind of like buying a denim that's one size smaller because you made a commitment to fitness and diet plans and things like that. But seriously, if you can think about what pushes you to take the next step, if you can find out what pushes you to take the next step, that's possibly the best thing you can do for yourself. It's going to be different for different people. For me, it's making that little bit of commitment towards intent. You can try it. If it doesn't work, look for it. Find what's going to push you. Businesses have been found because people didn't want to be sitting and not doing something else. They were willing to overcome some of those obstacles, right? Look around you. Think about everything you possess, everything that you can see. That's because of people who didn't want to stick with the tried and tested. They felt that there's a lot more they can do. We have the same ideas. Everything that you see around today is because of what we call the mavericks, the innovators, the genius, and the go-getters. But they started off just like us. They had an idea, pushed themselves one level, took one step, and this is what they've got. Now, there's one other technique I want to share with you. It's called unschedule. It's a very simple concept. Now, a lot of us get out a calendar and we fill it with meetings, tasks, schedules, and things like that. With the unscheduled concept, you start blank and you fill it with the things that you want to do and that you love doing. And then those gaps you put in all those meetings, calls, and the rest of it. Now, using just these 2 techniques, one, which is make a small commitment to your intent, and second, prioritize for the enjoyable rather than the mundane. Using these 2 techniques, I've founded 3 companies. I play multiple musical instruments, and for the offended drummers here, I play more percussion instruments than musical instruments. I also sketch, paint, draw, sculpt. I tried my hand at building mobile apps. I design websites. I know what SEO stands for. And I also design escape rooms. So many things. It's a long list. But I think the core really is that I try to stay curious. I want to try and see what if. How cool would that be? Can I also? This is where I start the questions. I think that's what's critical for all of us. Because sometimes if you can take a step back, assess who you are, what is it that you want to be, the hurdles that you're looking in front of you are really not the hurdles you should be worried about. And that's why you got to move forward. I mean, take this into account. If it just takes 3 to 4 minutes to learn to play a musical instrument, something that's possibly lying in one of your closets for God knows how many years gathering dust, if it only takes 3 to 4 minutes to learn that instrument, then what else are you waiting for?